Hype! What's up, Phil? Oh, shoot. I hit the button. Don't hit that button. It's the one button we don't hit. Greetings and welcome to another session of Let's Prep. I'm never going to do that again. Okay, that is what this is. If you are just joining us for the first time, weird that you came in on the third one, but that's okay because I'm going to recap some of what we've done so far. We started out with, basically I doodled this one day and I thought, I want to make a dungeon. Why not do it live and just, bring y'all in on some of my prep and also use this as a time to collaborate together. So it's been a fun process. I've been enjoying it, and as long as I still have things to prep, I'm going to keep doing it. So let's start off by looking at this. This is our starting location. Essentially, PCs are getting dropped in a 300-foot hole, landing on a bunch of pile of bodies, and then deciding what to do from there. To the north is a frozen door with a shield recess in it. To the south is an iron door with a sword, shape of a flaming sword in it. To the west is a crown, like a vine-covered door with crowns. And to the east is a broken open door and just air rushing from that direction. Very obvious what's going on here. This here is a bridge, a rope bridge, just over an endless chasm that they may choose to go down. And if so, they'll make some dex checks and things to see if they survive. Then we enter our first room. Well, I guess Compass Rose is technically our first room here. But the Chapel of Chimes we made live in the first episode of this. And I have not drawn in the chapel itself, but it stands on the precipice of this huge chasm. Here we have a truncated version of what we came up with. I've been writing out my notes live so you guys can read them a little better than this. And then, basically, we've been moving around the dungeon kind of counterclockwise, actually, and filling in some of the rooms. Here's the pulley that leads up to the Forge of Glass. Some interesting ideas came about as we were working together here. And by the way, if you're watching the stream and at any point you want to pitch an idea to me, write idea in all caps at the beginning of your sentence there so that I see it, because I'll be kind of like in and out of paying attention to chat. But if you write idea or you put Jorben in all caps, that's one way to get my attention if there's something you want to contribute or you think is a cool idea or something that might fit the theme that's going on. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. So here we have the Forge of Glass. What's up, Swords and Stones? What's up, Pete Giant? And Phil, if you're still here, what's up? Then we kind of went through the forge. I did change a couple of things as we built. There were these Duragar, right? And the Duragar, I originally said they were in a ritualistic forging of the iridescent illusory Kopesh to appease, but I changed it. They're actually building this to thwart what I've now named our BBEG as the Lunalith. The Lunalith. Lunalith, the Crystal Tyrant, I think is the title we came up with. Merlatron put that one in. Hey, what's up? Better with Bacon? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. So anyway, that's kind of like, I made some changes. Actually, I ended up just having some free time Sunday, and I streamed on Twitch because I didn't think it was interesting enough to do a YouTube stream. It was really just me hanging out going, well, how do we kind of massage this into a more cohesive theme and thought? I'm already lost. That's okay. That's the point of the dungeon. You start lost and you slowly find your way. Anyways, so iridescent illusory Kopesh is being formed by these Durgar who actually want to thwart the rising of the Lunalith. I changed that up because I felt like thematically these folk who have been slaves to this creature and its ancestors for so long, they deserved, to be angry about it. And so that's why it's a reforming Kopesh, because a lot of the other glass weapons and things that are built in this place can be shattered by its abilities. So they forged one in hatred to slay the beast, and that is why they're gifting it to you adventurers. Should you not fire arrows on sight and that sort of thing. Then we moved on, and we found the Moonlit Tomb here. Made a couple changes there as well, which we'll go over here. Let's see. I decided that these double doors are actually flanked by these stone golems, and they're missing some key items. A crown, a staff, a sword, and a shield. Now, what the players decide to do with that information is obviously up to them. But I wanted to create this thematic through line throughout the entire dungeon where these items keep being important in one way or another. Then I changed to where we kind of went back and forth on the idea of this trap here with the crescent moon. And this is what I ended up writing. Let's see. Oh, where did corpses placed on death runes equal 1 speak with dead. So basically, if they take some of these descendants, rather, not ancestors, but the descendants of the Lunalith, these half-hybrid crustacean beings, and place any of them on the moonlit death runed altar, then they get to ask 1 question of them. I thought that was a bit of a more interesting way to use that. Hey, Twin Steel, welcome to the stream. Patron saint of Dungeon Tubers everywhere, Twin Steel. Let's get some hype in the chat for old TS. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I wrote a couple other things. I added some loot. I defined, or at least named it, like the Amulet of Elder Dream. And then I added some flavor to some of the things we talked about. Like I have the whistle engraved with an owl, so that it seems a little bit more mysterious and probably important than just finding a random whistle. And then we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna put this away because this is my once these get polished and solidified into a thought, then I put them in my book I'm actually gonna use at the table. So let's put this guy up and let's break out Knave 2E, because even though this is ShadowDark, I'm going to use Knave because Knave has awesome tables in it. And every time, this is basically the stream where I trick myself into believing I'm going to use all these other resources, and then I fall back and I use Knave anyway because it's just that good. So yeah, let's open up Knave and let's look at this northwestmost room, which is this icy half-frozen river. I drew a little igloo and some frozen mushroom caps here. Hello, on lunch. Thought I'd stop by. Well, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. We're just getting started, so that was my 8-minute ramble of what's happened so far to catch everyone up. By the way, I'm thinking of doing these streams as long as I have stuff to prep. I'm going to keep doing these probably Mondays and Fridays. Same bat time, same bat channel, 1 p.m. Eastern. So look out for those. I may do a Wednesday stream as well this week because I got to knock a lot of this out before next Monday, because we might run this next Monday. If not, I'm going to run some other one-shot just to get everyone in the groove of what ShadowDark is. But yeah. Alright, so room themes, room details, dales, shifts. Let's get some D100 rolling in. 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. This room is, I skipped it, a fountain room. Interesting. Maybe the font has become a river. Let's see what room details give us. food. Perhaps some of the mushrooms are edible. That's very Knave of you. Room themes. Inversion. How does inversion affect? Or let's see what's around it. Invasion. Invention. Inversion. We're in our eyes over here. So let's see. We have a fount or fountains. Then we have food and inversion. Okay. All right. That's interesting. And I think we want to have some kind of a NPC or monsters. I thought about putting an ice troll in here. Thought maybe that would be a fun twist, like a water troll turned ice troll. But I don't want to. I want to be inspired. So if something comes up, and again, if you have ideas, write idea in all caps before you post it. That way I see it. Hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to move our beautiful little map here. This is what we did last time, but I'm running out of room on that page, so I'm going to start a fresh page. Let's see here. So we have... Do we name this room? The Ice Font? I think I'm going to start off by calling it that. We can change it later. Gotta get that bee troll in there somewhere. Oh yeah. That was a cool idea. It is a Troll Skull Island, so we could continue the troll thing. So I'm going to write... Yeah, let me look at that picture one more time. There's it's like half a mushroom forest and half a frozen lake. So let's call it... I almost said Turnip Tundra, but that's... Sounds like a Mario Kart course more than a cool dungeon room. I'm not going to linger on this too long. Frozen font. As in a fountain, not as in, Times New Roman or whatever. Frozen font. So, north end of the room, we've got this cave waterfall, once waterfall that's frozen over. Then on the northeast end, we've got a little igloo. Somebody probably lives there. West side is all frozen mushroom forest. And then south, the waterfall continues on down into the next room, essentially, the forest room. So there's a cliff. The Erudite DM, welcome. Hello. So, just a little bullet point here. Frozen Fall. Yeah, I should just call it Frozen Falls, actually. That's a better name. Because there are two waterfalls here. One is frozen. Frozen Fall on the north end. Igloo. Northeast. Half frozen river. In the center. And then, of course, our frozen mushroom forest on the west. Or I'll just say icy, because I keep using the word frozen. Okay, do we need any other things in this room? The music is dungeon synth from a video game. Where's my mouse? How do I do this to myself? I was gonna click it and look at it for you. I guess I just threw my mouse away, which I will need. This is crazy. Oh, you know what? I bet I put it behind the screen here. No. I have no idea. I'll check later, I guess. What did I do when I started the stream? How did I start the stream? There it is. Okay, distraction. It is Quest Master. Quest Master. That's what we're listening to. Yep. You got it. You didn't need me. Alright, I'll put this somewhere I can find it next time. Alright, Dwarf Fortress. Is that your idea for what else is in the room? Because we do have Durigar in the northeast, so it could be a feud between the two factions. 76. Delve Shifts, which is really more like, you know, if you're trying to rest in a dungeon or something. I got Smoke. No, wait, that's 86. 76. Rift opens. That could be problematic. Prison. Perhaps somebody's imprisoned in the ice. Ooh. Instant idea. So we have this proto-lunalith BBEG, but perhaps we have some of the smaller form. What are they called? Like, you know, basically Rust Monster, in this case, Glass Monster slash Aboleth. So I'm imagining this creature visually as this sort of like half crab, half moth, the lunaliths. So maybe there's these lesser lunaliths that are frozen in the ice, and if we use the plinth in this room and you put the fire sword in, it melts some of the ice and frees the prisoners and creates a potential combat situation, I'll say. Undead frozen in ice. I love Aboleth. Yeah, Aboleth is one of my favorite monsters. And we had a suggestion. I'm going to say it was Merlotron again, who said, because we rolled on a couple tables and I tried to get inspired with the monster overhaul about what the BBEG was going to be in the last one of these live streams, and that's what we came up with. Alright, so sorry, I'm getting way sidetracked. We have I'm going to write some things that were inspiration in pencil. I do have a pencil. It's right here. So we had food, prisoners. I'm not super interested in the rift opens. I don't think this is the room for that. Let's see, 76. Skeletons, so maybe they're skeletal versions of these. Slime, smoke, songs. Songs seem to be a strong theme throughout this entire area, or dungeon rather. I'm gonna say in the mushroom forest, maybe even just on the edge, like here. Put a little X, so that like they have to decide if they want to cross a frozen river, and maybe there's some pieces of ice breaking off occasionally from the more frozen section up north. See where I kind of have this line, and they're drifting down, so it could be like a, you know, an acrobatics, a dex check, that sort of a thing. So I'm gonna say food, prisoners, floating ice. Iceberg isn't the word, but I'm gonna write that. And then what did we just have? Skeletons. Let's see what's around skeletons. Smoke, sign, sofa. Just a sofa chilling in the middle of a frozen tundra. Sound. Yeah, we got songs and smoke over here. So I'm going to write songs because that's a strong theme. Yeti. I do like Yeti a lot. Yeti. Let me do one thing. I'm going to flip into my ShadowDark book. Find Yeti. Wouldn't that be crazy if I just flipped right open to it? Hey, there's Troll. I did mention an ice troll at the beginning. But Yeti is like a stronger ice theme. WXYZ. Oh, maybe there's not a Yeti in this. Maybe I'm thinking of Monster Overhaul. I think I am. I don't think there's a Yeti. A Harietium. But I do have... I can get Monster Overhaul. Give me one sec. Because if there is a Yeti in Monster Overhaul, then I have an excuse to break out Monster Overhaul and show you guys what an awesome book it is. Okay. I'm running out of room here. I'm going to bump my mic. Oh boy. These are tight quarters. If you guys, excuse me, if you guys could see, and this is not alphabetical, so I actually need to find Yeti. Okay, it'll probably be under winter. Although I'm not seeing it. It's not a thinking beast. Control F Yeti. This is the only time when I kind of wish I had the PDF pulled up. I can just go to the back though in the index. Rather, the indexes, plural. Yeti. See Ape, page 262. Couple floating down the river on a couch chewing on penguin jerky. Oh man, that already made me forget. What did I say? 262 is ape? Yeah, 262. That's hilarious though. Okay, so we have ape. Let's see if this is interesting enough. We got appearance, voice, chuckling, hooting, grunting, wants to defend their troop or to eat. Morality, social and empathetic but willing to tear threats limb from limb. Intelligence, as clever as a young child. We have, rend, bite. If both rend attacks hit the same target, the bite attack automatically hits. That's pretty intimidating, especially in ShadowDark. That's going to be pretty much death at level 1. Apes usually flee from any encounter and only attack if cornered or startled. So they could be like, I was going to say throwing rocks, but in this case maybe snowballs at the party. Not like damaging them, but like to fend them off or to ward them away. Then we have these apes are, in this case, it would be like a Yeti. We already know, white, fluffy, elusive. So there it is, Yeti. I don't know if you can see this far down. I have to move my setup around here. Yeah, I keep bonking the mic. But I'll move this up so you can see. We have the locals say that these Yeti know of secret medicinal plants and will sometimes lead a sick person to a cure. You could roll on this table, but I'm just going to read a few. Can speak but choose not to. Maintain a secret religion, complete with priests, woven temples, and living deities. It's kind of interesting. Maybe their religion is to the Lunalith. Always give birth to twins. Build nests and pretend to be birds. Retain hazy memories of their past lives as villagers and sometimes watch and protect their descendants. Cannot be caught by any snare or trap. Stole swords and are practicing their use. Split into smaller apes when injured. Oh wow, that's weird. Have fire and fire-making tools. Ape have fire. Yeah, unfortunately this isn't one of the more interesting entries, although there were a couple of things on there, but I've shown off the goblins in this book. But then there are mysterious mountains, random encounters. So oops, bonk. Omen, foretelling where these things are. Combined omens, if you want to have 2d6 apes pet and protect one fat sleepy alicanto. Don't know what that is, because it warns them of danger. There's ways to they create little scenarios for you if you want to roll on these, and then where they find you or where you find them, that sort of thing. So, all right, getting away from chat here. Let's see if you guys remember idea in all caps if it's from me. That way I see it. Yeah, Rob Stopper. I've got a game coming up next Monday, so basically I'm gonna keep doing these until I finish this dungeon. Hopefully before next Monday, so I can really have it fleshed out in my mind and know what it's about. I like to keep a tight deadline, apparently. Apes are poop flingers. That would keep me away. Yeah, certainly. Chimpanzees more so, but yeah, Yeti would be a bit more Sissel. Alright, see you, Sword and Stones. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see here. I am going to do this. I think there's a Yeti, but I think this is actually not the first thing they run into. I think that the Yeti lives off in that corner, and something else encounters the party first. And so we're going to roll a d20, figure out what that is. 4 Thinking Beasts, 82. Or we can go to table of contents and see Thinking Beasts and roll a d10. Oop, 5. A Manticore. So there's a Manticore and a Yeti hanging out here. Or a Lamia or a Medusa, or kind of on the other sides. Actually, you know what? That gives me an idea. I'm gonna shelve Yeti for a second, because there were, actually, let's see. Let's go to Medusa on page 90 while I'm fleshing out this thought. Because here's the thing. I said a minute ago we had these other lesser lunoliths captured in ice, maybe frozen in blocks of ice. I think this is a Medusa that doesn't turn things to stone, but instead freezes them in blocks of ice. So maybe she is the reason this whole area is frozen over. I think that's a more compelling through line for me, and it also gives us an intelligent creature that could be talked to or bartered with. I dislike when a dungeon has too many monsters that are just there to be killed. So I think the things frozen in the ice are there to be killed. And if they are released, then that's what happens. They just immediately attack the players. There's not really much negotiation there. But the Medusa, maybe they come across her while she has this hood up and it's writhing with these snakes. It doesn't even have to be snakes. They might even have a thing in here with Medusa variants. Yeah, look at there. So, okay, let's check this out. What's that? Great white snow ape. If you happen to finish early, you're okay to do a little journey work on your stream. Oh yeah, I could definitely do that sometime. In fact, once I finish this up, if I don't immediately have a next thing to do, I'm going to start doing some more prep kind of stuff, or like, you know, design building streams, because I've been having a lot of fun with these. It keeps my mind fresh, keeps me thinking about games when I'm not playing them, and it gives me some stuff for you guys to watch and ways to connect with, you know, the viewers out there who only get to see me once every 2 weeks or something like that. Alright, anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's look at Medusa. Human woman with snakes for hair, carefully measured vitriol, implacable hatred, soft hissing in background. Wants to be left alone. Morality, black and white. Intelligent, sharp as a knife, can see invisible creatures and through magical disguises. That's interesting. Okay, seeing the red glowing eyes of a Medusa turns living creatures to, in this case, ice. If a creature just glances at Medusa's face, the creature's limbs become heavy, slow, and gray. They can save to restore movement. And I may even like take a page from 5e's book, the newer Medusa. I think it's the 2024 one. I don't really keep up with it enough to know this, but I know there was a design overhaul where basically like if your first fail was only like I don't know, basically 10 or so under, you just started to slow, and maybe you'd feel your bones freezing up and your skin growing pale white and getting icicles on it. Whereas like if you failed more than 10, you are just frozen. And then you can keep making throws on subsequent rounds and stuff like that. I think like giving people a bit of a warning, and this is level 1, so characters are gonna die. It's ShadowDark, but I like having a like, oh okay, let's take a minute, reassess, and like reward players for thinking about how they're gonna approach a fight and be able to react and not just instantly die all the time. Okay, so enough rambling. Let's write down. Actually, one more thing. Layers, treasure. Medusa prizes gems, but finds sculptures or imitations of living forms vulgar. Huh. That's so interesting because they create them. Okay. We got the flavor here and some variants. Snake bearing. Interesting. Highly venomous, soul striking, sepulchral. Instead of petrifying, the Medusa's gaze turns living creatures into bound, feeble ghosts. Wow. Self-defeating. The Medusa is not immune to petrification. Meeting her own gaze in a mirror. Yep, that's the classic. Or at least in the, Greek mythology. Prophetic. Once a year, or just before dying, a Medusa can speak one true prophecy. Events described will occur. That's fascinating. De-petrifying. Instead of petrifying, Medusa's gaze turns statues into flesh. Ooh, that's cool too. Double-edged. Instead of petrifying, Medusa's gaze confounds the minds of living creatures. The next attack a creature makes against the Medusa strikes the creature instead. Victims fall on their swords. And guilt-bearing. If slain, the one who dealt it cannot sleep without strong drugs, copious drinks, or magical aid. Okay, yeah, there's some interesting things going on there with our Medusa. But I think we kind of stumbled into this ice Medusa. I think that's going to be a more interesting threat here. So I'm going to write, and to go way back, icy mushroom forest. I was going to write plinth, because we want the plinth in this room. I'm going to call it Western Shore or just West Shore. It's basically in that mushroom forest. I'm going to get rid of this so I can just peek. Yep. Okay. So, we have food in the mushrooms. We have prisoners encased in ice. Basically these lesser lunoliths. We have the floating icebergs going down river, and actually I think our Medusa is singing a song, and maybe that's how the players first get clued into her appearance. Sort of heavy metal version of the White Witch from Narnia. Yeah, 10 is huge in a D20. Yeah, that does give you some leeway, which I like. As I was saying before, I like giving at least a chance to react before you're just like, you're dead. Sometimes it's just not fun, especially when you're new. These are going to be players who've, I think, never played any RPGs, and definitely not ShadowDark. So I'm gonna have a few sort of softballs, even though, if someone falls down that rope bridge ravine, they're just dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Okay. I'm going to say frozen moth crabs, because these are the lunoliths, and they're not going to know what they are. Leading to igloo. And then, so we'll have actually, the igloo is basically, this is the Medusa's, the ice Medusa's home. Now, did I roll another detail in this room and I didn't write it up here? I feel like there was another one. Let's just start over with that because I want to see if anything else interacts with this Medusa. So I got a 48. Hot, hatching, humid. Let's delve shifts. And then we have Great Hall, Guardian, Hall, Infirmary. Maybe not. 48. Incense, ingredients, instruments. Yeah, maybe she has like a harp and she's playing a song. Alright, Ice Medusa. I got a lot of rooms to cover, so I'm going to keep moving fast today. And I'm going to try to get through 2 rooms because we're halfway through the stream. Ice Medusa plays, I'm going to say, Sad Melody. And / sings from her igloo. By the way, if you're just joining, put idea in all caps before your sentence if you want me to pay attention to it. I'm kind of looking at chat every now and then, but in order, it went slowed, action, or moved, petrified. Okay, thanks, Twin Steel. Basilisk or Medusa, proc to save. Yep, I'm reading backwards, but petrification dungeon used a 3-stage system. That's cool. Yeah, I kind of like that as a basis for it. And I'm gonna write that like, what were the 3 stages? Slowed and then petrified. So let's do slowed, because I'll clean all this up later. Petrified. I don't know if that's spelling. Ice Medusa plays Sad Melody, sings from her igloo. And maybe this isn't even a Medusa. I almost hate to use certain tropes, and I like to switch it up. So let's just see for fun, because it may end up just being Medusa, and that's fine too. 9. Monster traits: brittle, organs, bushy tail, animals, beetle. So some sort of singing beetle. Is that interesting? Or what's right around beetle? Boar and bee. Oh no, the bee. It's gonna be the what was the troll bee. That's too many things going on. A troll bee that's singing and freezing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we will stick with Medusa. I just wanted to see if Knave inspired me in a different direction, but I think I want to move on from this before I start digging, because I have a tendency to be like, ooh, fun idea leads to other fun idea leads to other one, and then I never finish the dungeon. So Ice Medusa plays Sad Melody, sings from her igloo. I'm gonna write on her harp, or her harp, or whatever. You know, I guess that was the thing that was controversial about the monster manual. There were guy Medusas on her harp. I'm gonna say, did I write frozen moth crabs leading to igloo? So we already have that somewhere on the page. What is she protecting? Because she wants to be left alone. So let's go to NPCs. And I'm gonna use rewards. 24. the dungeon. That's pretty generic. 25 dungeon map. Maybe a cipher. That's kind of cool. Like maybe some of the runes. Okay, idea. Ice troll with bees living in it. When you're stung, you say versus person stop. Okay, I'm gonna keep going with this. This ice troll, or bee troll, that's what it was. We already have a bug troll on the surface above the dungeon, so that Twin Steel's, yeah, poking fun at that. Medusa plays sad melody, sings from her igloo on her harp. Protecting, I'm gonna say it's like a stone cipher in the center, because then that gives the players an option. Like they can see it, they're aware of what their sort of like info or loot or treasure is, and they can maybe make the decision: do we try to sneak in and just like, I don't know, steal some of the words off this cipher, or do we risk, having to fight this Medusa? So I'm gonna write stone cipher, and I'm going to parentheses death runes because I've used this term elsewhere in the dungeon, or moon runes. Stone cipher in middle of camp. I'll just write for now, because maybe it's like I don't know, maybe that's like her little village. We'll figure that out in post. But okay, so we got enough going on up here in the northeast. This is just frozen tundra. Maybe there's like, we rolled skeletons earlier, so I'm gonna say, well, it doesn't make sense if you're freezing creatures that they're skeletons. So I'm gonna draw a little thing here to remind myself that they're like frozen entities around here, stuck in the ice, and that this isn't just open tundra. But I do like this idea that maybe like there's some frozen adventurers along with those lesser lunoliths. That way it's sort of a decision. Like, yeah, we might end up freeing these monsters and have to fight them, but maybe we release a few other adventurers along the way, or get some loot off of them at the very least if they're dead, that sort of thing. So I will say tundra of frozen adventurers / lesser lunoliths. And then we can move on. Okay. So across the way here, we have a mushroom forest. With a plinth, which is our continuous theme with the weapons and stuff. So let's say... Oh man, I hate that my camera does that when I start writing. I might have to figure out how to fix that by next stream. Mushroom forest. And I'm going to say this is where the food is. Okay. Let's do one more roll though, because I want there to be something with this food, or rather the mushrooms. It's really interesting. What do we have here? Spells, potions. I'm going to look at spells and potions because there's a lot of good effects that we can pull from. Qualities and effects. So, 89. Rolling high. The taste or texture. Let's see. Stringing, strangling, summoning. That's interesting. Stringing, summoning. Okay. 89. Taffy, syrup, tar. Forms. Torrent, touch, tree. Okay, and then let's look at mutations and stuff. Sweats blood, tentacles, textured body, totally numb. Super strength, talks to animals, talks to plants. We already have something in the dungeon. I need to show you guys the items. Maybe that'll be next stream. We'll talk about some of the key items. I think I'm going to do it Wednesday so I can really knock through some of this, because we still have quite a bit to go. 89, Stone Speak, Textured Rain, Time Loop. Ooh, that's weird. Teleportation, telepathy. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like mind stuff. So maybe there's psychedelic plants that link each other's minds or something. I do want to look at potions, because sometimes domains, travel, trees, trickery. There's a lot of that already going on in the dungeon. Tooth, torch, tree, and then potion. Yeah, swimming, telekinesis. Again, it is because this is written in alphabetical order that we're getting the same kind of stuff a lot. Thought sending. So let me re-roll. 41. Invisibility, invulnerability, intangibility. Iron stomach. Okay. Let's go back. 41. Fungi. That's a little on the nose. Geometry. Healing. Genius gets lost. Oh, these are delusions. Mutations. That's what we want. 41. Feathers, fangs, feet swell. I did kind of like 89. There was totally numb. This could be like, this food does provide sustenance, but makes you totally numb for a time. Did you say Mayan stuff? Kokotoma or Toma? I forget how to do the O with the dots. I have seen it. I know Peter from Tales from Elsewhere posted about it. It does look cool, but I think I said mind stuff, not mine, if I'm remembering right. Okay. Let's look at one more thing. I'm going to do one more roll on this effects. 53. Because I really want something. Irradiation, intoxicating, irritating, levitating, infection. Okay. I think that these mushrooms maybe have a small amount of healing. They definitely provide sustenance. So I'm going to say mushroom forest. Again, frozen. So they're going to have to unfreeze them somehow. But provides food, but causes total numbness. Yeah. Yep. Okay, but then we have the plinth we have to deal with. So I'm going to say, I almost do want to put like, what are those things called? You know, like a myconid kind of thing in here. I'm trying to think if that's too much going on for one room. Maybe there's just more frozen myconids, or whatever they're called in ShadowDark. I'm going to say frozen. The only thing I can think right now is mushmen, like the merry mushmen. So I'll know what that means. Frozen mushmen. And then, yeah, we'll do the plinth, because this is already... I'll find a way to roll this into being only like 3 or 4, but I'm going to go ahead and write plinth, and then we have to decide what our 4 magic items do in this room. So it's a way to like incentivize them to actually just realize something. One of our items needs to be in this room, because so far we have fire swords over here, which will unlock the south path. So if they made their way around, or let's say like they chop the vines and they just go straight in, what's interesting to be in here? The vine crown I don't think makes sense, because they might end up like backtracking and using the vine crown to get into this room, if that makes sense. So not vine crown, not flame sword, which leaves wind staff or ice shield. could be very on the nose and say the ice shield is in this room, which could be fun. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on that? The pygmy yellow musk zombies. Idea: 1 turn hallucination immunity from petrification. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so like, if they get to the mushrooms first, maybe it helps against the ice Medusa's petrifying ability, essentially, where they get frozen. I do like that. One turn hallucination. I do like the sort of numbness, though. Maybe it's a little of both. Does that make sense? Maybe it's more of a confusion than actual hallucination or numbness. Because that still creates, you know, a distraction where they're kind of frozen. Ice shield is good. Okay, let's... I'm going to put a pin in that and I'll come back to it and edit. Numbness, I'm going to write or confusion. Darn you, dyslexia. Confusion and sorry, I gotta look back. Immunity. I'm gonna write ice immunity because I think that covers it in this case. Okay, so plinth. Ooh, okay. Here's a fun way to like make this click in the player's brains in case they've gotten this far and they don't know what's happening with the plinths and they haven't found one of the weapons. I think the ice shield is actually already in this plinth, and that's why this entire room is frozen, and that's why the waterfall is frozen and everything. So I'm gonna say plinth ice shield. Why did I do that? That's weird. I wrote an H. I don't know why. I'm telling you guys, I got something going on. I don't know what it is. ADHD, dyslexia. Ice shield. Set in plinth. Freezing room. Or I'll just say area, because it doesn't freeze the whole room. Okay, removing it turns it to like a normal forest. We have a drug in our setting that makes them resistant to cold but vulnerable when it wears off. Too many doses and starts overhealing and taking fire damage. I do like that. I am trying to like stay close to ShadowDark form, which is like concise as humanly possible. Which, you know, you can still accomplish what you're saying that way. You just have to... I just have to think of how to word whatever this ends up being. Alright. Ice shield set in plinth, freezing area. Let's say... What does the fire one do? Fire... fire obviously I think melts the frozen. I'm gonna just say friends / foes. And parentheses awakens myconids. I really can't spell today. Wow. So I have Mushman and myconids. Okay. Then we have... Man, this might be a one-room stream. We're already at 154. We have the wind one. Wind. By the way, on the Discord, I've now put a brainstorming channel, so we can figure out some of the more specific details Indestructible Boy, about to go live and apparently do a Vagabond pre-shipping Q&A. Ooh, I might have to catch that. That's awesome. I'm excited about Vagabond. Really well laid out game. Very cool design. Okay, so wind. Alright, what does wind do in this room that's going to be more interesting than just... Maybe it fills the area with spores? Makes the myconids happy? Friendly? Maybe they even gain a boon from using the wind in this area? I like that. Let's go with it. I got 5 minutes. Fills area with spores. Spreads mushroom forest. Myconids. Friendly. Equals boon. Okay, so then we need to do Earth. And this might be the hardest one to justify. Because we already have quite a few cool things happening here. I don't know that we have a really cool way that Earth does anything here. I'm going to go to the book for this. Let's get inspired. Encounters. It's time for encounter roleplay. 80 flat. Rioting, resting, robbing, sacrificing. That was it. I thought there was another page for encounters. Let's do then delves and find out if maybe there's something to unearth. And maybe it rises up from beneath the ice. Okay. I don't know what I'm looking at. Let's just check out 80 because we're already there. Rooms filled in. Okay. Scriptorium. Maybe there's some secrets beneath the ice. Or salon or scullery. I don't know what a scullery is. Spy hole. Stairs. Stairs is interesting. Maybe there are stairs down. Actually, that could be very cool because it could be a secret set of stairs that opens up that leads down to the next area, so they don't have to literally like jump off a waterfall or go around. Oh, you know what? I said shield, but shield only opens this way. Well, it's thematic now and it makes sense, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, anyway. Stairs, and then 80 stasis. So, maybe, yeah, I mean, that makes sense if something was frozen. Statues. Ooh, I like statues a lot. In fact, there's a hole in knock, number 1. See you, Twin Steel. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for your input. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to write statues and stairs. So Earth equals statues. Statues and stairs is a different role-playing game. Statues and stairs rise. Oh, ride. Rise / lower from beneath the ice. And I think that, so like way down to forest. Again, I'll clean this up in post. And then also, I think I'm just going to write knock statue puzzle and look up one that I think fits. I want to do a stream that's just me using Knock. They have these like Mad Libs sort of dungeon encounter things, and I kind of want to use one to just make up an encounter at some point. It could even be the next stream, but I think the next stream is going to be talking about what these magic items are that sort of slot into the plinths and the different doors around the dungeons. They're essentially magic item and key, and they can sort of help with some of the puzzles and things, but in an indirect kind of way, or a very direct way if you use them like that. But I think that's it for this stream. We've been going for an hour, and yeah, I think we covered at least one room and got some ideas. That was a pretty involved room, though. This is a larger area, so hopefully we'll see if these end up taking equally as long, because then that's at least one. I'm going to call this 2, 3, 4, or possibly 5 more streams. Hopefully these will be a little bit more straightforward. I don't think I'm going to have as many puzzly things in some of these. So, what did I say? 4 at least? So yeah, I think next stream is either going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow, just to be safe. Because if I do one Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's 4 more. My game's on Monday, and I need to finish this dungeon. So, yeah, get ready for a lot of live streams. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. And y'all's input is really giving me ideas to turn this into, to polish a turd. Turn it into a cool dungeon. With the help of Knave. Alright, y'all. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Share this if you like it, and I'm going to keep doing more prep videos in the future, because I think I do a lot of like talking about games, but this is a clearer example for some folks of like how to get ready for a game. And I may even, when I go to run it, I may even do a stream where I say like, here's the things I look back over before I have my session, and just like show you what my real like right before a session prep ends up looking like for running this. Even though a lot of this is like kind of sticking in my mind right now because I'm building it, but that's it. Yeah, thank you guys again. Keep watching the streams if you like them, and I have got a Quantum Ogre Cast hopefully coming out tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely by Wednesday. It's me and DM Tales talking about some of the barriers to being a game master, so that should be a lot of fun. And then other stuff coming up on the channel. I really do want to do a stream where I talk about this game I'm writing, because I think that would be interesting to folks to know, what I could potentially do a backer kit or whatever crowdfunding for, just because I would like to write a game. I have like 4 games cooking in the back of my head, and some of them are half fleshed out in some Google Docs right now, and I'd love to get art and layout done for them. I think once they could be put in a pretty package, people would enjoy them. But yeah, that's just some of my random thoughts here at the end of the stream. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all. Like and subscribe. My favorite thing to say. Okay, where's my mouse? Let's get out of here. Goodbye. Learn, adapt, and grow. See you next time.